At each school board meeting, staff members make presentations that highlight academic programs in the York County School Division. In November 2012, both York and Grafton High School staff spoke to the board about their partnership with the Virginia Institute of Marine Science and their program entitled P.E.R.F.E.C.T.
I'm looking forward to tonight's presentation. This topic involves two of our high schools, both York and Grafton High, and they are each partnering with Virginia Institute for Marine Science through a grant funded by the National Science Foundation. And the program itself is, the acronym is P.E.R.F.E.C.T, which stands for Partnership Between Educators and Researchers for Enhancing Classroom Teaching. And through this program, students, teachers, and then also graduate students from VIMS work together. They collaborate on action research projects that make a difference on the local community. So obviously there's a benefit for students through this engaging real-world work, but also it constitutes professional growth opportunities for our teachers as well. And this evening we are fortunate to have a number of folks presenting. Amy Holtschneider and Kristen Kelly are the teachers, and they will also introduce the other folks that are joining them in the presentation.
My name is Amy Holtschneider. I'm a biology teacher at York High School. This is Kristen Kelly. She's an earth science teacher. Miss Samantha Bickle, she's our VIMS fellow, and Tatum Connor is currently a junior at York High School. We are excited to share some of the things that the GK through 12 program has brought to our school. Currently, we are in the 4th year of the program. This partnership began in 2009. The VIMS graduate fellows are essentially visiting scientists in the classroom. They spend about 10 hours in the room with us, but just because we have a mentor teacher that they're assigned to, they actually work with the entire department. One of the cool projects we did was in 2010, I took a group of students over to VIMS, and one of the things is we looked at a bunch of the projects that the graduate students were doing. One of them was this algal flowway, and the flowway was being used to research biofuels. But what was cool about it was they took water from the bay, from the York River, and it had all these nitrates in it. It went down the flowway, and there was no nitrates by the end. And so the IB Bio kids at that time they saw that project, they were thinking about it, and they have to do a Group 4 project. And a Group 4 project is an IB requirement, and it takes biology and physics, and you got to incorporate it together. And so what they did is they came up with their own project based sort of on this design, and so they took this flowway, they built their own, and they then changed the incline of that to see how that would change how much nitrogen was sequestered. So it was a pretty cool thing that they did just from a visit there, a field trip, and then applying it in the classroom.
Well, as you guys know, a picture can give 1,000 words or more. And the next slide we have here is in the classroom. And fortunately, I've been a part of this program for 4 years now. It's been very exciting, and I'm very thankful. You guys can see here an array of photos being taken in different classrooms with different GK-12 scientists throughout the last couple years. And personally, it's been amazing. I know for a fact, as my perspective, I've grown quite a bit, and so have my students. As an earth science teacher, the scores of SOLs have greatly improved during this program. It's been great. It's really changed the experience in the classroom. In current times, we know it's very hard to get out of the classroom, especially with large enrollment in classes, and earth science in general is very, very large. And so getting these kids out of the classroom can be really tough. By bringing this program in, it's been really great bringing the science indoors and being able to see how it relates to things just here in the classroom as well as in the local area and worldwide. It's changed the experience greatly. Having another qualified scientist in the room has helped the students to make connections beyond things that I've even imagined. They felt very comfortable at various times, able to talk, ask questions that maybe I couldn't get to at the moment, or things that maybe I didn't have specialization in. We've had more labs throughout the years. We've really been able to enhance different things that we do, the labs, the activities, had more time to get really detailed and to really expose the kids to things that change on a daily basis, a yearly basis. So it's been really great, and the scientists will often bring in different research that they're doing, and we'll be able to see them apply it in various ways depending on what's going on in each of our units. Another really great thing that we've done is the Marine Science Day, and again, sometimes it's very challenging to take a large group of kids out of the school. What we do in this is we actually bring about 7 to 10 scientists once or twice a year, depending on what our schedule is at the building. And typically we'll bring them in and they'll have a round-robin type experience. And what we'll do is these scientists will come in from different areas of marine science. They could have a specialty in chemistry, physics, all kinds of areas. And they'll come in and they'll set up a table where the students will sit with them for about 8 minutes. And in that time period, they'll be able to see demo equipment. They'll work one-on-one, experiencing different question and answers, different games, all kinds of things at that table, learning about what that scientist has done in their program, whether it be going for a master's or a PhD. It's very dynamic. It's a great opportunity, informal, and a lot of fun. So we're very, very excited to have this program.
Hi, as a student, the Marine Science Day is a great way to get you kind of out from behind the desk. In my sophomore year, I was enrolled in a marine biology class as I was interested in marine biology for college. And seeing all these different people and being able to connect with them in a way that's not just a teacher-student relationship from behind a desk is really great. Being able to look at the science and be, wow, I can do something like this. This is easy. I can access something like this. It's a really great way to learn. And for people, I saw kids in my class who really weren't really interested in the class other than something to raise their GPA, being really interested and really connecting with the science is more than I have to read this textbook. And it was really interesting to see that you can, that's me. So I'll appreciate it. You can connect with the science. This picture was taken of me at the VIMS IB Bio field trip, and I was very excited to get in the waders. In my freshman year, I was fortunate enough to work with a graduate fellow, Mr. Samuel Lake, for my science fair project. I was working the effect of crude oil spills, of the oil spill that just happened in the Gulf, on plankton colonies and how it would affect their oxygen intake and how that would further affect the food chain. And as a student and at my house, I mean, I don't know how many of you guys have crude oil laying around your house. I mean, I hope not, but it could happen. I didn't have access to test any of these things. And I was able to ask my teacher and say, I know Mr. Lake because he's in my classroom, and do you think he could help me? And I was able to go to VIMS, set up my entire experiment, have it be at VIMS in a safe, protected environment, and then be able to test it in an actual lab. I wore a lab coat. There's picture proof. It's not as great as this one, and it was really awesome for me. I got to go to the science fair and present an actual science fair project. And it was great for me to see the steps to take that, hey, when I go to college, this is what I'll be doing after college. I'll be working in a lab. This is wonderfully connected to our students of today. I also get Miss Bickle in my IB biology classroom a couple times a week, more often than not. And it's another way to say this is science and this is a person. And not only is it just some guy with some crazy hair behind a lab bench, it's a woman and she's connectable and she's awesome and it's wonderful to have her in class. And it gets us out of the slideshow and more into one-on-one with a person, other than Ms. Holtschneider, who's awesome as a teacher. But it's nice to have more than one person to be able to connect to and talk to about things that interest us.
Right. In addition to some of the classroom activities that I would bring into the school, we also have the opportunity sometimes to take students out into the field. For example, this fall, the IB Biology juniors, where you just saw a picture of Tatum and the waiters, they were able to visit VIMS, where I was able to show them the lab where I currently work and I do my research, and introduce them to some of my dissertation work so they can see where I am the rest of the time when I'm not at York. And after that, then they actually got to be the scientists. They were out taking water quality measurements, looking at the distribution of periwinkle snails, counting the plant diversity within the VIMS teaching marsh. And all of the students had a really great time. Personally, I found it very amusing to see a bunch of high school girls arguing over who got to wear the chest waders next. But yeah, they had an excellent time, and Amy was informing me that on the car ride back, they just wouldn't stop talking about how much fun they had and how cool the science was and how much fun it was to be able to get out there and do the science hands-on. In addition to the students benefiting from this, the teachers can also gain some professional development. Every summer, as part of the program, we hold a teacher workshop at VIMS, which is usually 2 to 3 days, where the teachers are able to come to VIMS, and we as graduate students introduce them to the research that we're doing, and then they get an opportunity to work with the technology we work with and employ some of the techniques that we use kind of on the cutting edge of science, so they can have that information to bring into their classrooms. Additionally, as part of the program, we're required to generate activities and lesson plans incorporating our research into the general concepts that are already being covered. And the teachers are welcome to continue to use these in future years if they like, even if they don't have a fellow in their classroom. The GK-12 program has had a positive impact on just student perception of science and scientists in general. A couple of my colleagues conducted a study where they asked students to draw a picture of what they thought a scientist was and provide some adjectives. And they did this before working with the students and then after working with the students for a year or a semester or however long they were in the classroom. And what we saw was overwhelmingly the before pictures were typically old white men with crazy hair wearing a lab coat in a lab with beakers, possibly blowing things up. And all of the adjectives were usually negative, such as mad, nerdy, dangerous. And we got the impression that students viewed science as inaccessible and nerdy and not something that they wanted to do. However, after working with the fellows for a year, the drawings changed dramatically, where there were a lot more women in the pictures. There was also an increase in the ethnicities of the scientists and in a variety of settings as well, ranging from someone swimming with dolphins to someone working on a volcano. And also the adjectives took on a lot more positive aspects. And overall, the students thought that science was more accessible to them and possibly something that they would want to go into in the future.
Right. As you guys can see, this has benefited the students, the teachers, the fellows. It's really been a great experience. We know that this hands-on learning really works, and we know that because, for example, Ms. Kelly's Earth Science SOL score, she had 99% in her class last year. So when we see that in the Draw a Scientist, their impressions are changing of what a scientist is. But really, aren't we all scientists? And that's what we're trying to teach the kids. You know, it's not about necessarily, we don't have to go and identify the fish in the Chesapeake Bay, but every day we're doing things like this week we'll be looking at the best way to cook our turkey. And so, you know, those are all science, and they don't even really know it. So we are bringing science in the classroom, and we have been really excited to be a part of this program. Thank you.
I think this is excellent that you can bring the science in the classroom and get away from the textbook. Now my question is, the partnership is existing between the IB program and Grafton, is that right? Do the other high schools have this?
No, it's between, there's actually 5 schools, but
Okay.
Grafton and York are 2 of the schools in our county that have it. And it's all of the kids that are in science. But I just happen to teach IB Bio.
Okay.
So.
But what about the kids at Tab and Bruton? I would like for them to have this experience too. How do we
Unfortunately, their
expand?
school is not part of the
How do we
partnership.
expand the partnership?
Well, this is a National Science Foundation grant, and it's actually a 5-year grant, and next year is going to be the last year of the grant.
Last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we just we got on board the train early, we applied, and we got accepted to the program. So
That's great.
yeah, it's been
That's great.
wonderful.
Hands-on experience, that's the
Absolutely.
key.
Okay, anything else?
York High is always making me proud.
Thanks, Mr.
And-
Bedford.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.